Greetings to everyone world over, wherever you are. It's a green morning, it's a green afternoon, it's a green evening, and we extend a very warm welcome to all our brothers and sisters, our children, our teachers, our educators, our counselors, our technocrats, and the entire education ecosystem. Yes, parents are also part of these deliberations because this pandemic has taught us a lot of new orders and new permutation combinations. Hope you're taking care of your health, you're taking care of your wellness. At the same time, children, you're not troubling your parents, you're very accommodating, you are living in a harmony, in a symphony with your parents at a wonderful home, sweet home. Mama must be preparing some good dishes for you and you must be enjoying. Great. So cooperate, collaborate, help out each other the best possible way, whatever we can. And as you know, every Sunday, it's a morning in Canada, America, and Latin America, but it's afternoon, post-noon, lunchtime in European Union and UK, and it's early evening as far as India is concerned, Bharat is concerned. And before it's a pre-evening for the tea and all in the Central Asia and Middle East, where people are joining us from. But of course, people are preparing after this session of an hour or so. They all will be going basically for their retreat, and they all will go for their sleep after 1.5 hours in Southeast Asia, in the ASEAN countries. So with these words, ladies and gentlemen, we extend a very warm welcome to all of you. Thank you for coming today. Thank you for being a part of this particular event. So Sunday, 23rd January 2022, 1 minute past 8 p.m., we extend a very warm welcome to the entire global family, Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam. That means the whole world is one family, and we all are children of the same God. Today is also a very important day in the history of India. Today is Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose Jayanti. Today is the happy birthday of Netaji. The best gift for a freedom fighter is the promise that we will always take care of the nation and love it with all our hearts. इन्होंने कहा था, तुम मुझे अपना खून दो और मैं तुम्हें आजादी दूंगा. And if you recall and if you recollect, Manipur has got one place where for the first time the Indian freedom flag was hosted. You can go, you can enjoy from tourism part, you can see it over there, and we salute this soldier. During this pandemic, our chamber basically had taken the journey where we all have started and moved ahead. Then we realized a lot of challenges are coming, a lot of casualties are coming, and doctors, nurses, paramedical people, as a great warriors, they are putting in their best of efforts to save every human being on this planet. At the same time, we also got the information that 1.65 billion children, they are away from schools, colleges, universities, and institutions. That is the time we took a pledge that our chamber is going to dedicate ourselves completely on 3 buzzwords: making education relevant, making education relevant. And we took all the entire education ecosystem, schools, colleges, universities, polytechnics, ITI, skill centers, training providers. We took everybody, whether you are a teacher, you are an educator, you are a headmaster, you are principal, you are counselor, you are wellness expert, you are yoga teacher. We took everybody with us in an ecosystem, including all the technocrats also being a part of this ecosystem. And we started moving together, working on a new journey, that how to take care of every child, how to keep everybody positive. Nobody should have anxiety, stress, or any kind of depression. And this is the road journey. This is the milestone. Right from 25th of March 2020, we have moved on this road. You can see the milestone of ICSI, teachers and youth empowerment. Honorable Prime Minister also gave the vision, Atmanirbhar Bharat, self-reliant India. And we took skills, competencies, capabilities, research, innovation, technology, health, wellness, water management, women empowerment, micro, small and medium enterprise, everything based on technology. We are proud of our 37 sector skill councils, wonderful job they are doing. And we did a hand holding of each other, and particularly wellness sector skill council, media entertainment sector skill council, and with that startup, entrepreneurship, and technology based, self-employment and management, MEPSC, they also came with us and we did wonderful. It's a dynamic leadership in India of Dr. Nirmaljeet Singh Kalsi, who is the chairman of the National Council for Vocational Education and Training. At the helm of the affairs, NSDC, all the sector skill councils, ITIs, polytechnics, skill universities, everybody brought on a common platform. Let's do the hand holding of children. Mohit Soni, we are proud of you, Media Entertainment Sector Skill Council. Monica Behel, ma'am, we are proud of you, the Wellness Sector Skill Council. Colonel Anil Pokhriyal, we are proud of you, the Management, Startup and Entrepreneurship Sector Skill Council. And when we looked back, 1994, ICSI, when it came into existence in India, and 1994, when we started getting all the NRIs together on a common platform, and every year celebration, deliberation, congratulation, greetings, meetings, eatings, whatever you want to call it, there the idea also came. Let's do the hand-holding of teachers and youth. Can you imagine? Way back in 1994, our chamber started with India's first finishing school network for service industry, because economy has got three parts: agriculture, manufacturing, and services. We deal with the services sector, and something fantastic we brought together. Over here, we started focusing on youth personality, communication, collaboration, inspiration, innovation, and we are proud, a large pool of youth and the teachers. Teachers, you are great. Teachers, you're great warriors. During this pandemic, you all have tried your level best. By any means, you have tried to reach youth, children, students, wherever they are. You put in your best of efforts, whatever could be done. The only thing what has happened is that during this pandemic, from the brick and mortar, kind of a four walls of the classroom, with that kind of a program, we have come totally digital. We have come outside classroom, flip learning, digital learning, blended learning, hybrid learning, outside classroom learning, and something very nice, nature-based learning. We have come more near the nature. We have realized that one small virus, what damage it can do to the entire world. It's a great learning for the humanity. It's a great education for all of us. The finishing school, which we got basically in a physical infrastructure, it has taken a shape of digital institution now. It's called e-Gurukul for service industry. And what is the beauty of this e-Gurukul? Now today, world over, all educators, corporate, teacher, and all the people, those are influential. That means they are inspirational, they are motivational, irrespective whether they are formally in the education ecosystem or not. They have come on this platform. More than 12,000 speakers have come, more than 12,000 speakers, and 300,000 youth. We are proud of them. We are proud of them, and our deepest gratitude and thanks to them. And now, the Honorable Prime Minister giving a call, India being the youngest nation of the world. And when you have got a young population, we got to take care of these youth. We got to skill them. We got to give them competencies. We got to give them capabilities. We got to do the hand-holding for them. And thereby, this is the home page of our official website portal, what we have got of ICSI. If you go to icsiindia.in, this is the home page where we are working in the direction how the educators, how teachers, how trainers, how counselors, they got to go global. They got to travel world over, and wherever they can move on, they got to help the entire Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam, the global humanity, because population is aging. Our children have to move out. Our chamber starts early in the morning, online beaming through the e-Gurukul during this pandemic, every day, right from 25th March, ladies and gentlemen, we are connected with the whole world. And in e-Gurukul, we always see from youth point of view, students point of view, teachers point of view. And today we have realized, if you give mobile device to a child and if you give him some interesting game, that child will not even ask for breakfast or for lunch or for dinner. What is that? We have to understand. If you bring music, dance, games, happiness, humor, fun, creativity, curiosity, storytelling, stimulation, passion, talent hunt, talent display, stress-free education, technology-based education, vocational education, skill-based education, outdoor education, nature-based education, prakriti ke saath, nature ke saath. I have not seen a frog in my life who has got ever a digestive problem. It's always a human being who have got a problem. Frog doesn't have a digestive problem. I have not come across. Okay. When we talk about education, very interesting. Education should be relevant to my day-to-day life. Education should be happiness. Education should be happy living. When I get up in the morning, जब मैं सुबह उठूं तो मेरे चेहरे पर मुस्कुराहट हो, और जब मैं रात को सोऊं तो मैं प्रभु का शुक्रगुजार करूं कि आज का जो दिन था प्रभु जो तुमने मुझे दिया, ये आपकी नियामत है. ये बॉडी, ये कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, ये विजन, ये वॉइस, ये वोकल, ये स्पिरिट, everything comes from you. So why not? Education should be entertaining. And I always pick up, we got to live in the harmony and the symphony with the nature. And if there's a happy education, if there's a happy living, there is no price tag on the mental happiness, which we all have to realize. Our chamber takes deeply education, skills, and micro, small, and medium enterprise. Start something at your own. We have got old philosophy that parents are feeding you. You are not doing anything, only studying, only marks, only percentage. And we are having parrots coming out. We got to bring that change. And the new education policy 2020, which has come, that is going to give a lot of new strategies. B2B, what used to be business to business before pandemic is no more business to business. It's back to basics of life. That is the future. Basic food, basic health, basic family, basic happiness, basic education, and basic skills and sustainable development of the entire world. ये ज़्यादा के चक्कर में पूरे संसार में problems ही problems हैं. Today we talk about climate change. We talk about all those things. Everything can be made wonderful. Everything can be made wonderful. It's all of us, we have to take care of it. Tomorrow evening, like today is Sunday, it is dedicated to NRIs. Don't forget, tomorrow evening is going to be a very special program. Chandigarh, the city beautiful, which was set up after India's independence. Tomorrow we are going to have a special. Tomorrow evening, you will have Chandigarh calling. Films and entertainment, hub of North India. So don't forget, tomorrow evening, 8 p.m., we'll talk about radio, television, theater, music, films, animation, youth, and your talent. Everybody has got a talent. Every child has got a talent. Every teacher has got a talent. You are special. You are different. You have come on this planet with your own qualities. Exhibit those qualities. We have not to copy anybody. Whatsoever is your original, let it remain. So, ladies and gentlemen, whatever your mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Napoleon Hill, he has conveyed somewhere at the early 1908, 1910, 1920. So let's come together. Let's make humanity better. And for that matter, We are going to today talk about holistic learning. And we have got very distinguished guest all the way from the United States, Dr. Anjali Kanojiaji. She's an academician based out of Houston. She's from the United States. And every Sunday, we have got NRIs for Indian education and skills. Let's move on. Join me in extending a very warm welcome to Dr. Anjali Kanojiaji. Hearty welcome and pleasure to have you with us, ma'am.
Namaste. Thank you. I feel like I came on the wrong day. Mujhe bhi ye Chandigarh wala, I want to be part of that. That sounds like a lot of fun.
We will invite you tomorrow also, ma'am. We'll invite you tomorrow also.
Thank you, Mehdi Singh. Yes,
and we will physically also invite you.
Wonderful. No, thank you again for allowing me to present today and be here today. And namaste to everyone who is listening. I hope we have students. I hope we have parents, even parents of young children will be interested in what we have to talk about today and discuss. Holistic learning, right? What is holistic learning? Especially in the backdrop, we see we have the pandemic, which has moved pretty much everything virtually, right? Everyone is super now familiar with Zoom and Google Meet and all kinds of platforms that deliver online learning. More and more buildings are just kind of closing out because people are working from home, and many companies have figured out that they can save so much more with people just staying at home and we're working remotely. So the whole structure is changing, including education. Right? I used to teach in these large halls with 200, 300 people teaching like introduction to whatever political science courses. That is no longer the case, right? So everything is changing. That is one big change. And the other big change, of course, is the pandemic. Well, the pandemic is related to both of these, but mental health, right? Good mental health, the changing scene in the marketplace, and how to take care of yourself with all of these changes is what we want to kind of talk about today. Narrowing that down a little bit, holistic learning during the pandemic times and with the advent of technology is what we'll focus on. And I want to narrow that down even further with a focus on higher education. Some aspects like how to choose a university, how to choose a program, what is in sync with my beliefs and ideology that my parents practice at home. Is this what I'm getting outside, right? And finally, career choices also. So I want to kind of touch upon all of these a little bit, and then Major Sharma, I think he and I will do a little bit of Q&A at the end. So let's look at the word holistic. This word gets thrown around too much, right? Most of the time we see this in health, and of course, a little bit in education as well. Holistic, it is important to know what holistic means before we begin to advocate holistic learning. So I know this has been talked about in the program many, many times, so I'll keep this super short. The term, in my experience, right, means looking at issues comprehensively, which is something that we're forced to do with this tipping point that we've experienced in the past year, which is the pandemic, right? So looking at teaching, learning, delivery, and even what is offered, designing curriculum from a holistic angle. The NEP was amazing, the 2020. I've read through it many, many times. But now that we know that the world will be very different moving forward, there needs to be some revisitation of certain angles in the NEP as well. And we'll come to that at the very end. So the holistic part is important for students and educators, as it is essential to look at the comprehensive picture instead of just focusing on the things and the narrow things that we're just so trained to focus on. So in my experience, holistic means building well-rounded and aware future citizens, right? The well-rounded, that doesn't mean you have to be an ace and number one at everything, but well-rounded in what I'll talk about means being exposed to different things. Well enough exposed to where you can say, hey, I can differentiate that this is a hobby and this needs to be a career, right? Especially many times in the West, we fall into the trap of, hey, when you like something, you need to pursue it, right? And I'm going to give an example, and this doesn't mean that I'm disparaging any of these disciplines at all, but I just want to give some examples. If a person is supremely interested in poetry, that's wonderful. But in the changing times in the global marketplace, you have to think ahead. If I major in English literature, if I make poetry my focus, what types of jobs are available to me? Perhaps I can become a school teacher. And what else, right? And these are the kind of questions you need to ask yourself before turning your passion and your hobby into a major and a career. Because sometimes there's a disconnect. I find many times there's a disconnect. I have many students who have humanities majors and things like that, which are struggling out in the workplace. So a hobby doesn't necessarily need to translate into a major. So that is the first thing I really want to focus on. So how do we think about our future paths, right? We really need to do our research. We need to do the research. We need to look at the colleges, the universities we're interested in. We need to look at the departments we're interested in, right? We need to look at the faculty who will be teaching us if we do apply for a particular college in a particular program. So from the broad to the narrow, let's look at the choosing the university part first. How should a person choose where to go, right? There are many universities, many brand name universities, even people who are in the global student space are looking at Ivy League colleges, right? Looking to go at institutions in the US or Singapore or some prestigious institutions in Europe. When we think about this, you really want to do your research. And choosing an area of study and pursuing the path from now to getting in takes a lot of steps. So basically, you want to look at a good investment, right? Just because there's a brand name associated with it doesn't mean it may be right for you. So that is something that absolutely needs to be looked at. And this is where I think parents can take a part, especially with the research aspect of it. Okay, take a look. Again, we want to know that the departments and the faculty will be teaching your kids what you want them to learn, right? If you want to send someone in, especially for an anthropology major or sociology major or whatever else, make sure that that is in line with your beliefs. Meaning parents need to do their homework before paying thousands of dollars in tuition to an institution. The institution also needs to be supportive of what your aspects or your expectations are, right? You don't want to purchase something that you may regret. Again, I say this because we all know that education is a marketplace. So basically, you're the consumer. Be a smart consumer. You have to know what you're paying for, because this is not something you can return the other day, like take it back, right? You cannot do that. Tuition costs a lot. Choose wisely, shop wisely. We know that many students will incur debt. This is something I really want to talk about. Student loans, they're a huge, huge problem in the US right now, because people, of course, students, many times when you're 18, move out of their parents' house, right? The diaspora community is seeing this as well. Even though we're Indian and usually we stick to our parents and live in joint families, that is kind of changing, right? We're influenced by the environment we're in. Many of the Indian kids will move out at the age of 18, will be financially independent, so to speak, but of course they don't have the cush bank accounts to support tuition. So be very mindful and make sure that you know where your money is going. Shop wisely. Don't incur debt. I know easier said than done. Look for scholarships. Even so, you can even ask help of parents, but that debt will just be on your records for life. So I really want to stress that, because when you're not doing well and you have like $300,000 to pay in medical school debt or whatever else, law school debt, that is going to stay with you and affect you mentally. That is going to affect your health. And I see that all around right now. There are many schemes being introduced, especially here, to help students kind of pay for this and alleviate their what they owe, but these are going to be issues that will still stay with you even after you finish your college. So shop wisely. Narrowing this down from the university, we come to choosing a major, choosing an area, right? And this is often something that students struggle with. What should be my major? There may be some expectations at home about the doctor engineer route, but then what do you want to do? So please have a conversation with your kids and students. If you're listening, please have open conversation with your parents about what is right for you, right? STEM, which is science, technology, engineering, and math areas, they may seem hard, but look at the job market. Is the job market still booming for these areas, right? Are there careers in demand? Again, I want to stress, do not confuse hobby with choosing a major. One thing that I always advise students to do, Major Sharma, is go shadow someone. So for example, if I want to become a lawyer, I will find 3 to 5 successful lawyers and ask them if I can shadow them for a week, right? That would really help me determine whether I like it or not. It may seem glamorous in my head, and when I get through law school, I find out I hate doing this. There's a lot of time, effort, and financial resources wasted. So go step into the field as an apprentice for a little bit. Go do an internship to figure out if that is what you want to do. Because even changing majors this way and that way is time consuming, as you'll have to take new courses again, right? I mean, changing a major from history to anthropology. Well, you can do that, but that will cost you a little bit of courses here and there, a little bit of time, and quite a bit of tuition. So choose wisely, right? I have mentioned this before on your show, Major G, but ask yourself, do you actually need to go to a 4-year college right now, right? Or do you need to go to graduate school? Do you absolutely need to do it? Because in this changing world, we see that places like Google are coming up with their own curriculum to get students ready to join the workforce, bypassing, circumventing all the traditional systems of schooling and learning. So do your research, right? Because again, with technology and artificial intelligence, many of the jobs, as we currently know, are kind of going away and eventually will become obsolete, right? So I want to kind of put that on the table, looking at the larger picture. Something may seem attractive right now, but is it viable down the road? Even the role of a teacher has changed in the past years or so, right? Teachers were actually teachers. They were lecturing in the classroom. Now the role of the teacher, as I see, has become more of a facilitator than a teacher, using technology correctly to deliver instruction, right? The instruction can be anywhere from the world. So teachers too themselves are becoming more of facilitators rather than the traditional teacher as we knew it. And of course, this is because of technological changes. Learning in the classroom has changed drastically. And now in the past 2 years, completely, right? So again, students need to seek out what they need and not necessarily follow what everyone else is doing. And we see peer pressure as a huge challenge to some at this point. And again, peer pressure is normal, is natural at this age, the student age. I just want to keep it broad. But at the same time, what is right for you, right? Whatever is right for your friend may not be the right thing for you. So coming to the sub point of that is look into a vocational program, look into skill-based training. And no one ever says that once you do this 2-year certification or a program, you can't go to a 4-year college. ऐसा कोई stipulation नहीं है. So get empowered, do some hands-on learning, because this will actually be the safety net you can fall back to if and when things don't work out otherwise. Okay, so I highly stress vocational programs, right? I mean, again, this kind of seems like I'm saying don't go to college, but that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying empower yourself with plan B, another skill set, right? Because we never know what will work out in the future, what else will change in the future. So you want to empower yourself and not have to just totally fall apart when things don't work out. Another thing I want to mention, Major Sharma, is even when in college, sign up for some data-related courses. Sign up how to do basic statistical analysis. If you're an art student, take graphic design courses. Learn to use technology, incorporate technology as part of your learning. Again, quantitative training goes a long way. Even a history major who signed up for some basic quantitative classes will have those necessary skills, even having gone through 4 years of college for an undergraduate major, right? So that person then is not just stuck with being a teacher. Not that I mean, I'm a teacher, so again, not disparaging the profession at all. But again, this gives people a plan B, something else, right? Another source of revenue. So take some other courses that will empower you. You don't have to just singly be focused on your particular area. And again, ask yourself, how are you going to make a career out of what you study, right? This is the question. Teachers, students sit down together, parents sit down together and have these discussions, right? Are you going to learn the necessary skills that you need to function as a good citizen in the global market, right? Are you competitive in the larger market? That is something that you want to pay attention to as well. Relatedly, the global job market is where, again, I mean, this is open to us all, being that everything is virtual. So you have to be empowered enough, trained enough to compete globally. The times I think of moving from this place to that place, those times are kind of shrinking, right? And so even look around, like, don't think that some other faraway institution is much better than what you may have locally and regionally. So again, doing research is a must. You can probably benefit a lot from what you have there, right? There meaning anywhere you live, versus looking at somewhere else far away, thinking it's very attractive. And I know students fall into this trap. They want to go to the best schools. Why? Because they have a great football team, or their hotel restaurant management program is well known. But do your research locally as well. You know, staying at home, staying close to home has many mental health benefits in this day and age. So I really want to stress that. Having seen students kind of complain the most about what their primary stressors are, is that there's no kind of family system. There's no backup in a sense. They can't go talk to anyone. Their roommate doesn't understand, right? So build that system, stay in the ecosystem that is most supportive to you. It doesn't need to be so far away geographically. And again, I'm gonna like make it a little personal now. One of my professors, when I was enrolled in my first master's degree program, she told me, she's like, Anjali, don't go making a career out of areas, and I won't name which areas, but I will mention like public health and social work, unless you have a big fat inheritance. This does not mean undermining Samaj Seva or public Seva, social work, but rather stressing that Seva can probably be done in parallel to earning a living by other means. You can support the Seva, right? You don't have to go into it unless you're really, really supported financially. Because if you're the primary breadwinner and you're pigeonholed into an area, a career that you can only make so much, that is going to be a problem, right? And our Shastras teach us that artha, kama, all that is okay. So yes, you have to be a provider. If you have to be a provider, choose wisely. And again, this is now for me shifting to wearing my yoga hat. Work is not your life. A job does not define who you are, right? Job is a job. Yes, you do the best you can. You can be a karma yogi, do the best you can. You don't even have to like it, but it doesn't define you as a person. We are all much bigger than the jobs we do. And I mean, just looking at Major Sharma as an example, right? I mean, he is doing so much more than what his job entails, right? So keep this in mind, guys. And again, this only comes from conversation. Have open conversations with parents, grandparents to get the context and the bigger picture. I also just gently want to touch upon grades. Okay, I know I don't want to go into statistics because I wanted it to be an emotional piece. We know that grades are necessary, but again, they don't determine the rest of your life. Grades, standardized tests, all this is important, but there should be no child taking their life because of lack of academic performance that they perceive. This should not be happening. Like, this should absolutely, life should not be ever taken away because of some failure related to school or anything else. So keeping things in perspective is an absolute must. And we're getting that now. I come across many students. I'm doing a little bit of consulting with some schools. I see some students who are just struggling with learning virtually. They can't sit still. And this is really affecting their mental health. They're used to the classrooms, right? They're used to structure, and now things have changed. So don't be so hard on yourself. It's okay to not be the best, okay? Again, failures are part of life, but that should never lead to a drastic end. I want to kind of close this out, Sharmaji, with extracurricular activities. Absolutely, you must find time to volunteer, do an internship, apprenticeship, go shadow those who admire, right? This is, I think, the holistic part of learning and education. Immersion learning. I was huge with this with higher education, taking trips to different lands, helping students see different cultures, right? It just makes us a little more open-minded, a little more inclusive. Do study abroad, learn a foreign language, right? And in India, we're so blessed that a foreign language is like the language of the next state, or your neighbor might speak it, right? You don't have to go somewhere else to find a foreign language. Foreign language means something that is not your mother tongue, right? So find this, just open yourself up a little bit and expand that aspect of the brain to just get to know other cultures and people. Because when you go out in the marketplace and compete with someone who might have an Ivy League education, your hands-on experience is going to matter more than that person's very rigorous academic learning. Why? Because you will be the person who has the know-how to be a team player, to work with other people, with a diverse group of people, that kind of thing. So hands-on training is something that I really stress with all my students, because this is what builds up a good, aware citizenry, right? And again, if lost, ask for help, right? Don't think, for students, don't think that you're alone in this journey. Parents, don't think that, oh, if you didn't go to the school system and you don't have help, you've never been to college, that you're alone. Ask for help. People are happy to talk to you. Find someone like me, so find someone like Dr. Sharma, right? I mean, this is doable. Finally, mental health. In these pandemic times, building oneself up and keeping up with the day-to-day stressors and challenges is not easy. But we are so blessed in India to have the solutions are right there, right? Yoga as a science has existed before time immemorial. It is there for us. Do early morning yoga, pranayama, meditations. Thousands of studies. I was just looking at Google Scholar this morning to see how many yoga studies are there. Hundreds of thousands of studies on yoga affecting academic performance, helping with sleep, helping with de-stressing, helping with depression, right? So as a student, you know that you have the tools in your toolkit. Appreciate this, right? If nothing, go out in nature. Go put your feet in the soil. Understand that this is where your food comes from. Just cultivate a little bit of awareness. Get out in nature. Get a little more grounded, I guess, and realize that your existence is something that you can be aware of, right? Get to know yourself a little bit. And that, I think, should help with the learning aspect a lot. So with that, I want to close out my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Anjali ma'am. Such a wonderful, valuable input. You touched the entire ecosystem, right from the selection of these subjects, selection of the college, selection of the university, difference between hobby and a career. You took it so well. And then beautiful sentence you used, go shadow someone, whatever you want to become, and observe for a week, 10 days. Then you also gave something very nice, teacher's role changing now, teacher becoming facilitator. The old school of thought is now going out of the window and out of the door and out of the four walls and the brick walls. And we all are moving in flipped learning, blended learning, hybrid learning, outside classroom learning. All that's something very, very interesting. Conversation with parents, grandparents, and of course, very serious, the grades part. A lot of children, they do harm to themselves. They don't realize it is not the end of the world. And we got to go something extra mile. And extracurricular activities also, when you talked about the new education policy 2020, now there is no extracurricular. Something very interesting comes over here. Earlier, when the child was going for music practice, drum practice, some sports activity, so teachers used to ask, excuse me, where are you going? Ma'am, I'm going for practice because next week we have to put up a play. Come on, you'll be missing your physics class. Sit down over here. You are not going for that. And the child used to say, okay, fine, I'll sit down for the physics class half-heartedly. Now, in the new education policy 2020, there is no curricular, there is no extracurricular, there is no sports, there is no outdoor. Everything is integrated into the system now, and it is the integral part of the evaluation process. That is something very interesting which has come. Internship and entrepreneurship and other things, what you talked about, and finally the mental health. That's also something very important. We got to stay fit, we got to stay fine, we got to stay positive, we got to stay energetic. All that is something very interesting. Now, so much you have given in a platter, and we have a tendency, you know, over here, parents, they keep supporting. They say, "Tum kuch nahi karo, tum sirf padhai karo. You don't worry about anything else. हम सब कुछ कर लेंगे. तुम सिर्फ पढ़ाई पे कंसंट्रेट करो. मार्क्स लेकर आओ, क्योंकि तुमको कंपटीशन में आगे जाना है. इधर एडमिशन लेना है, नहीं तो मिलेगा नहीं. And don't do anything else." Over there, I've seen right from my, you know, young days when I've been traveling, that children at the age of 13, 14 doing part-time job, earning some pocket money. Every week they are doing something, you know. It makes them more confident. It makes them more independent. It brings maturity in them, you know, at a proper age, stage, or whatever you would like to call. I think this Corona has taught one thing, very important, that children, you should not be burdened in a way on your parents. Rather, you should support the whole family ecosystem. And all of us together, we have to grow. All of us together, we have to fight this battle. It is not only Papa has to earn and rest everybody is enjoying, and mom only alone has to wash the utensils or do the cooking part and all. I think we got to be supportive, and I'm pretty sure that children across the world, they're wonderful children, they're beautiful children, they're very nice children. That's why the world has taken on this pain for 2 years of this Corona. There are two questions which comes to my mind. Let's ask the audience on the YouTube channel. That would be much better. Let them participate on the YouTube. Now, very active participation is coming. People are participating. We are seeing the beautiful posts which you are putting, and you are telling it is very encouraging session. It's very energetic session, and people are enjoying that. I'm reading that. Now we have got two questions, 1,000 rupees each, and we would we would like to have the best of answers. Let us see your creativity, your critical thinking, and your communication part. It's a verbal communication because it's not a vocal communication. You just put it over there, we will come to know. Use Google, open book, open platform. Whosoever gives the best suggestion, they get the reward this evening. Madam's topic is holistic learning. Holistic learning. Put your suggestions on the YouTube channel in the chat box, where you should give us holistic learning for service industry, because economy is into three areas: agriculture, manufacturing, and services. We are in services sector, and I'll give you, question paper is open, answer is open, no problem. In service industry, it's customer who's king or queen. It's a customer care. It's a customer delight. It's amazing the customer. It's a happiness of the customer. Your courtesy, your manners, your gesture, your body language, your articulation, your softness, your soft skills, all that are going to add value in service industry. So, question is, as a teacher, not as a student, not as a learner, as a teacher, what do you feel if you are a teacher for holistic imparting students knowledge, and children are getting holistic learning for service segment, for service industry. What factors should we keep it in mind? What areas should we keep it in mind when there is a holistic learning? You have done B.Ed, you have done M.Ed, you have become teacher, you're imparting education. New education policy 2020 has come. It came on 29th of July 2020. Nobody knew that the coronavirus जो है वो हमारा जान लेगा इतना लंबा, उसके बाद एक muted virus भी आएगा, and nobody knows when the world is going to get back to normal. World is not going to go back to January, February of 2020 anytime now. We got to move ahead, look ahead. So, what is your suggestion? What should be holistic learning for the service industry? And two best answers you can post, keep posting. Meanwhile, I'll interact with Dr. Anjali ma'am, and we give you 5 minutes for posting. Nakal maro, nakal ke liye bhi akal chahiye. If you have to get the award this evening, 5 minute ka time dete hain aapko. Service industry, holistic learning, what do you want to include over there? We will take into consideration. Meanwhile, ma'am, let's talk about how do you feel, ma'am, that people, those are not having technical taste, or they do not want to pick up technology faster. They might be thinking, मैंने तो 2 साल के बाद retire हो जाना है, क्या करना है सीख के. They do not realize that in life now is lifelong learning. What is your suggestion to those teachers? How do we change the mindset? उसके लिए कोई डोज बताइए आप अपनी मेंटल हेल्थ के इन टीचर्स के लिए जो मेरे जैसे हैं और जो ये सोचते हैं क्या जरूरत है. अब तो नाउ आई एम नियर रिटायरमेंट, क्या करना है, यंगर जनरेशन को सीखने दो, मुझे क्या करना है सीख के. उनके लिए what is the dose you would like to give in homeopathic or in Ayurvedic or in allopathic?
I mean, great question, because we come across teachers like this, educators, even administrators like this. It is interesting. I don't know if there's like one pan solution, but Sharmaji, they have to be really convinced that the world will open up for them. Learning technology will not just be limited to their day-to-day work, right? Once they get on Facebook, they interact with people from any parts of the world. So learning technology is not just going to be job ke liye, it's going to be there for the rest of their life. It is an empowering issue, right? So wo convince karna, I know, is very difficult, but even maybe perhaps some of these older people can ask their grandkids to teach them. They don't have to get embarrassed and go learn from someone else. Ask someone at home, right? Because thoda sa embarrassment bhi aa jata hai ki mujhe nahi aana, nahi puchna, that kind of thing. So ask someone at home, ask a young kid. They will train you how to use FaceTime. They will train you on how to like bold words on WhatsApp chats, right? These little things can be learned. And again, it's a self-empowering tool. Retirement se life thodi band ho jati hai, right? Life carries on. Retirement is just one phase. So I think technology is here to stay. Might as well embrace it and use it rather than shun it and be like, oh, mujhe dar lagta hai. So those are my 2 cents on that.
Very nice, very valuable input. Now, secondly, ma'am, can you give some more deeper ingredients for mental health? Would you like to give something on mental health, a little bit more deeper, because political science and health, all these areas are yours? Or
Yes.
maybe next question I'll take on later. Please,
Yeah.
let's go on
So,
mental health.
Absolutely. So actually the college population is the largest population that is suffering from a lot of mental health issues. Why? Kind of going away from home is one thing. People are stressed about school because whatever the way high schools were teaching is not the same thing in college. Primarily time management. High schools में teachers बोलते थे, you have to do this, 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 and this by tomorrow. College में ऐसा नहीं है. It's like self-guided time management. And students are not used to this. So they're not able to many are not able to cope with it. That is one thing. The other thing is like the dark side of being a student, and that is kind of influence of peers and things like that. People kind of go off on the wrong track. There are a lot of drug abuse problems, substance abuse problems also. So we know lots of studies, and this is like my area, I'm getting into the heart of it. Yoga, discipline, right? Yama and niyama are the first two aspects of Maharishi Patanjali's yoga path. The discipline towards self and others, right? What is discipline for a college student? Probably non-existent. Time pe sona, right? Go to sleep at a particular time. If you have a test, prepare in advance. But these are the hardest aspects for a student. So I think that if they are kind of living close to home or at home or have that support system, the yama niyama aspect gets taken care of automatically. Theek se khana, right? You're not eating out all the time. You're not eating crappy fried foods all the time. Jo bhi time mile or raat ko 2 baje bhook lage, you're eating. All that goes out the window if you kind of have that family support system. So I advocate the first two before I even go to the pranayam or the asana or the meditation, right? Discipline is number one. And then I said, then we can go into the physical aspect, which is the asanas, right? We know that 20 minutes of practice, even a little bit of, even doing like one cycle of Surya Namaskars in the practice does so much for the body, right? When the sun comes up, go out and stand in the sun. Like that, Surya Dev should touch you first. Like you go compete with the grass, the birds, the trees, go compete with them. Like mujhe chahiye ye first kiran, not anyone else, right? In a good way, a healthy competition, right? So be out, do your Surya Namaskars. It's a comprehensive way to work out every part of the body. And then once we open up the channels with the asanas, right, with the postures, then all the NRIs are kind of open, loose, relaxed. Then we bring in the pranayam component, which is the breath component. So when we do anulom vilom or nadi shuddhi or whatever type of pranayam, air, the life force that is the entire existence, flows within us better. So that's when we bring in that pranayam component. And meditation. Meditation is another, we can do like a whole session on meditation, but that word essentially really means nothing in the English language. There are components and nuances. There is dharana, there is dhyana, right? Dharana is absolute concentration. Instead, none of us really understand what meditation is. We think it's sitting upright with our eyes closed. Our body may be here, but the mind is doing 1,000 different things. You're thinking about, oh, meri gaadi mein gas nahi hai, oh, mere cat, I need to go buy cat food, or grocery nahi hai, whatever. The mind is everywhere else but here. So that concentration on something is the dharana part of meditation. And once we start beginning to practice that in a disciplined fashion, and one thing I want to stress is when we practice these things, Sharmaji, they have to be at the same time every day. अगर आपको लगता है कि आज 5 बजे किया, कल नहीं किया, 2 दिन बाद फिर से करेंगे, cultivate some discipline because the body gets used to it. When the body quiets, the mind quiets. And when the mind quiets, the body functions better. That loop, that mind-body connection exists. So I want to really, really stress that. And that is helpful for all of us, right? It's been scientifically proven. And we are, again, so lucky that we have this as a tool, as a solution. So we take up karna chahiye.
Wonderful, wonderful explanation. Wonderful. Dharana also and dhyana also and concentration also, all 3 buzzwords. Now, ma'am, your PhD is in public policy. And I would like to get small input from your side, whatever time permits.
Yes.
Education, we personally feel per se that if we can bring equality world over, where urban, rural, semi-urban, far-flung areas, border areas, challenged areas, harsh weather areas, climatic conditions and all that, coming from challenged families, rich families, poor families and all that, if anything which can bring equality in education, in universe, that is through education ecosystem. Do you feel that education and health basically should be the responsibility of the government? It should rest with the government instead of having different fee structures, different institutions, different curriculums, different kind of styles and all that. Why not to bring, is it possible through some public policy in a democratic system where basic education, at least up to 12th class, should be same for everybody, and then depending on the inclination, hobbies, passion, persuasion, motivation, and whatever children want to do thereafter. How do you look at that? How do you look at that?
It's a really good question. I think policymakers, especially in India, must be grappling with this issue, Sharmaji. Policy is what makes the world go round. However, not everything should rest on the government and not everything should be top down. I'm a big proponent of decentralization. Let it be a ground up movement, right? We know that a specific region, probably as you mentioned, Manipur, we'll just stick with East India for now. They may have their own challenges, right? Weather related challenges and any other challenges. They know their area best. So instead of something being imposed top down, there can be a bottom up solution to many of these problems. And I think the NEP does allow for some change. One thing that I didn't touch upon, which is tangentially related to your question, is learning in our language. Learning in the regional language is a must. Learning English is one thing, and learning in English is a totally different thing. So encouraging that ground up regional, local, linguistic based learning, I think is an absolute must for a diverse place like India. That solution, that policy solution may be different in other parts of the world, but in India, that has to be a ground up movement. And that probably can come from the people. And again, I'm not suggesting a revolution, don't get me wrong, but the people have to advocate, right?
Yes.
So like, these are our needs. This is what's working for us. Please allow us to do that. And perhaps the district and the state governments can kind of figure this out. Here, we have independent school districts. So districts are the ones that kind of come up with certain rules and regulations for that local population that they service. So that state district, I think, camaraderie here can probably come up with the best policies for that particular region.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you very much. By this time, I think we have given enough time to our audience.
Yes.
Let us see some of the answers. You got to select the two best who should be awarded and rewarded this evening. The first answer came at 8:46 p.m. India's time. It is coming from Manipur, and it is a lady called Julie Supa, to address the emotional, social, ethical, and academic need of the students in an integrated learning format. 8:47, Mr. Balkrishan. Holistic development essential means the development of intellectual, mental, physical, emotional, and social abilities in a child so that he or she is capable of facing the demands and challenges of life. Mamta Chauhan from Pauri Garhwal, Uttarakhand. The whole educational and professional training system is a very elaborate filter which just weeds out people who are too independent and who thinks for themselves. Then Mamta again writing, Seva Bhav required to be promoted for the student to be prepared for service industry. Balkrishan. Every child is unique. He or she has a unique personality traits, interests, preferences, values, attitudes, strength, and weaknesses. Kim Kepgen. To instill curiosity and develop better communication and social skills. Ma'am, can you see on the YouTube yourself? Or I'll see.
I'm looking, yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Then again, Balkrishan. The educational curriculum must be able to help every child find his or her unique place in the world in alignment with the uniqueness that he or she has. Rosie Chakma from Tripura. Lifelong learners, adventurous, innovative, and imaginative. Madam Thota from Chennai. There should be psychological counseling given by proper professionals, and authorities should not budge on costing. Mamta Chauhan, what rewards and punishments do is induce compliance, and this they do very well indeed. I'm sorry, I could not. Mamta, artificial learning takes what is simple and natural and turns it into a complex array of objectives, goals, measurements, administrators, supervisors, counselors, and transportation experts. Okay. Then we have got Mamta. Without the balance of historic value, practical education gives us that most absurd of standards relevance based upon the suppositional needs of a theoretical future. And Esvosa from Imphal, align with an organization's business goals, can help ensure that skills are continuously aligned to an organization's business needs. These are some of the inputs, ma'am.
Yeah, so I was actually looking for the word spiritual well-being as well, and we haven't seen that. I mean, just
No,
so audience,
come.
keep that. Yeah, so I just want to say, like, keep that in mind. I mean, we can list all of these different things, but again, unless we are okay, your spirit is okay, your Atman is okay, nothing will matter. So I was kind of looking to see if we would get that. Sarmaji, what do you think? I mean, I like the one from Tripura, right? I mean, and the lady from Chennai also hits the points. Very good answers. I want to, as a political scientist, I want to throw this back on you. We can.
No, ma'am. Ma'am, I should go as per your as per your views, because it's
okay,
your
so
it's your show.
So we can pick the one from Tripura, and then we can pick the one from Chennai as well. And you're right. Okay, even educate, and they're right in some of the commenting. Children are unique, right? I mean, we know that. There was another comment about that. And yeah, all that should be taken into account by educators as well. So for educators have their own things cut out for them. So I want to point that out also.
There's another one from Chennai, J. Subalakshmi. The 5 aspects of holistic learning today: health, physical, emotional, social, spiritual, and mental.
Perfect. I know. Did that just come in when we were talking, or was that there? Yeah, that answers, of course. I mean, that is a comprehensive, holistic answer, in my opinion.
Okay, so holistic learning and holistic answer. So J. Subalakshmi, and then you told Tripura, Rosie Chakma.
Yes.
Rosie Chakma. Okay, Rosie Chakma. So heartiest congratulations, Rosie Chakma and J. Subalakshmi. Both of you get 1,000 rupees reward from Chamber, and that would be sent across to both of you. It will be credited to your accounts. Keep it up, keep coming for the show, and keep joining, keep encouraging, keep learning. I'm also learning. And you know, I learned so much from Dr. Anjali ma'am today. I picked up so many new threads today. We got to keep our mind open, vision open, and finally, दो शब्द जो इन्होंने बहुत अच्छे यूज किए आज, धारणा और ध्यान. They both have gone deep inside, because concentration, meditation, happiness, and also very politely she made a mention, why not to learn from our elders? Elders, why not to learn from our grandchildren? You can pick up from them at home so that you're not embarrassed. Thank you,
it's a two-way, bi-directional relationship. Yes. Yes.
Our deepest gratitudes and thanks to you. Thank you very much for being with us over here as an inspirational speaker and coming for holistic learning. There was so much to pick up. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
our deepest gratitudes and thanks to you. And
Thank
world
you.
over, all our brothers and sisters, it's a green morning, it's a green afternoon, and it's a green evening. Stay fit, stay fine, take care of your health, your wellness,